I am going to be sharing today some tips for planning your first international trip. As I was planning our Belize itinerary out, I started to realize that this is my mom's very first international trip ever. So, Mom, this video is dedicated to you. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, my name is Leisha. I am documenting and sharing my experiences, learning how to fear less and enjoy life. Last week, if you missed it, I started sharing my Belize itinerary and how I'm planning that using Google Docs. So if you missed it, I'll link it up here. This video will share some important things that you need to do before you head out of the country. First things first, your passport. Now, if you do not have a passport, this is your ticket to foreign lands, and it's actually quite a simple process if you are a US citizen to get your passport. When I recently looked it up, it will be around $145. It can take 6 to 8 weeks. It may be longer depending on if you went at a time when it's really busy and there's lots of people applying for their passports, but mine have come relatively quickly. You do not want to book your plane tickets before you have this in hand. If you don't already have a passport, you need to make sure that it gets to you, make sure the mail doesn't eat it, make sure that your dog doesn't eat it. Very important. If you already have a passport and it's been a while since you have traveled, or even if you just travel regularly all the time, you want to check and make sure this thing is not expired. You need to have a current passport to travel to every country in the world internationally, so make sure that you have all of that good to go. Some countries do have visa requirements. Generally speaking, in Mexico, the Caribbean, minus Cuba, you're gonna be able to take your US passport and visit the country for a vacation, for your spring break, no problem. But just always good to look up any visa requirements that there might be for the country where you are staying. Now, let's talk a little bit about passport security. There are some things that you need to do before you leave to prepare concerning your passport security. You'll want to make a few copies of your passport. So whether you need to go to the library and do that, whether you have a copy machine at home, you can take a picture and print it out. You need to have a couple of copies. I personally put a copy of my passport, a paper copy, in each of the bags that I'm bringing with me. So that way I've got a copy on hand if one of my bags gets lost, or there's always a backup copy. I also take pictures of my passport and keep them saved on my phone in case that's gonna be what I have in hand if my passport is stolen or lost. Sadly, I speak from experience because when I was on a trip to Guatemala, my passport was stolen. It was my very first time there. I thought that I needed to keep my passport with me at all times. I just so happened to go out on a zipline excursion and I left my passport in my bag in the car, and all of our stuff was stolen. Even though there was an attendant that was supposed to be watching it. Everything was stolen. It was an absolute nightmare. I had to go in some back alley to get my new passport photo taken. I spent a whole day of the trip stuck at the US Embassy waiting in line to get my case heard, to file the police report, get my passport expedited so that I could get back home to the US. I also did not have my driver's license either, so my driver's license was stolen as well. I had to replace that when I got back, so it may even be a good idea to take some photos of your driver's license if you're bringing that along with you. Here are some things to do when you get to your hotel or place that you're staying. First, make sure that there's a safe. If there's a safe, keep your passport in the safe. You only need to really take that passport out if you are leaving and going back to the States, or if you need to go and sign some paperwork at the hotel for some reason. They might ask to see your passport. That's really it. That's really the only times. If you're driving, you know, when I've driven in other countries, I do have my passport, but you'll need your driver's license. Yeah, generally speaking, just don't take your passport out of the safe if you're staying in a resort in one place. Otherwise, you know, I will tuck it like into my clothing so that if my bag or something is stolen, it is not going to be stolen along with it. So yeah, very important tip. Be smart, people. Be smart with your passports. They're very important. Like I said, they're your window, they're your ticket to other countries, to other lands, and you need them.
It's the money.
Let's talk about money. So before you leave for your trip, one of the things that you need to do is call your bank and give them a heads up that you'll be traveling internationally. Let them know I will be going to ABC place and I will be gone for XYZ dates. That way, if anything happens, they can, number one, freeze your card. They'll know right away you were traveling. The other bigger important thing is that you don't want them to freeze your bank account while you are traveling. If you don't let them know, if you don't place a note on your account that you will be internationally traveling and they start seeing foreign transactions happening, they will assume that someone in XYZ country has stolen your bank information and is trying to steal all of your money. Now, another thing that you will want to do is you'll want to think about how much cash is reasonable for me to actually carry on this trip. I don't carry a ton of cash while I am overseas. Most of the places that I have been, I can use my debit card, I can use my credit card. Where you will want cash though is if you do plan to shop in some local markets, and depending on where you're going, you could be okay with US dollars. If you want to get a little bit of a better deal though, you can exchange your currency for the local currency. But I try to keep as little cash on me as I can because really debit cards are so widely accepted these days, debit and credit cards. So I have not had really any issues in the Caribbean and in like Central America with my debit cards and accessing money. Let's set a reminder on your phone right now that will remind you before you leave for the airport to give your bank a call and let them know that you will be traveling out of the country. Another thing that you need to consider if you're planning your first international trip is how you're going to communicate with your family, your loved ones back home. I will admit that I'm not the greatest expert in this area. I'm team iPhone and I typically just use Wi-Fi to contact my family and friends back home. If you aren't team iPhone or you don't have something like iMessage or FaceTime, WhatsApp is a great app that I have used overseas before. If you have a really great wireless company that you prefer to work with and just have them handle giving you an international package and paying for that, then that's an option as well. You can give them a call and see what your options are depending on who your wireless carrier is. I've also seen people that just bring a little burner phone with them that they get a local SIM card for whatever country they're visiting, and they just use that. They put minutes on the card and use that to make calls back home. If you're gonna be traveling around throughout the country, you're gonna be riding in various different forms of transportation, you're gonna want to probably go the SIM card route or work with your wireless carrier to make sure you're taken care of while you're overseas. All right, guys, definitely don't want to overwhelm you with too many things, but those are probably the top 3 things before you're headed out on an international trip, especially your first, that you're going to want to take care of. So to do a quick recap, get your passport situated, keep in mind those tips that I mentioned, and make sure that your money is squared away. Make sure you have a plan, you know what you're going to do as far as changing currency goes, giving your bank a heads up about where you're going and when, and also your methods of communication. So all of those 3 things are really gonna be one of the foundations. I'm gonna cover packing and all of that good stuff in a few of my future videos, but I did do a packing for Jamaica video if you're curious to see what I would bring to a typical resort vacation. I'm gonna be sharing in the near future what I'm going to be bringing with me to Belize, and I'm getting so excited for this trip, you guys. I'm so excited. I think mostly because it is my mom's first time going out of the country, using her passport. I can't wait to see her face. And I'm thinking about doing a little interview with her. We'll see if she lets me do that or not. I'm kind of hoping yes, but I totally understand if she doesn't want to make an appearance. But yeah, so I hope that these are helpful for you guys, and thanks again for watching each week. Every single one of you that leaves a comment or that likes this video and subscribes to my channel. I am so new to YouTube, but I really enjoy connecting with all of you here, and even more so just documenting and sharing what's going on and the things that I am enjoying in my life right now. So until next time, bye.